Hey everyone, it's Nordic here. Welcome back to yet again another Tier Rank Tuesday, where today we have a relatively shorter one than I would say as expected, but it's still going to be a very fun one. We are going to be tiering how the newly hired head coaches have done this season. We have all of the coaches who were either hired before the start of this season or even some coaches here who were hired mid-season by their teams. Again, not as typical as our other tier lists. Our tier lists are typically much longer, so this one may be a little bit shorter, but it still will be a very good one and one that you guys can enjoy. Let's dive into it, though. Starting off with Lindy Ruff of the Buffalo Sabres. Ruff this season with the team has a 16-22-5 record with a .430 points percentage. He is 29th in the NHL, or I guess I should say his team is. I mean, I would be really not surprising anyone if I didn't put them in horrible. It has not been a good year for the Sabres. I don't think all of that lies on Lindy Ruff, but I would say that the expectation was for them to maybe not improve, but stay in the same spot, stay in that same trajectory, and they just haven't. They got worse. They're back to being a bottom 5 team. They're dead last in the Eastern Conference. I mean, I really can't justify putting them any lower or, moving them up any higher. So, yeah, I think that you have to put Lindy Ruff in horrible, even if it's not really all his fault. Hate to say it, but it is the truth. Next up then, Sheldon Keefe of the New Jersey Devils. Keefe this year with the team has a 26-15-4 record with a .622 points percentage, and he is 7th in the NHL, or I should say his New Jersey Devils are. Keefe's been great. He has not been phenomenal for me. He has been great. He has not been like a phenomenal coach. He may win the Jack Adams, but he has been doing great for this overall New Jersey Devils team. So, you got to give credit where it's due. But I do feel like with Markstrom coming in that trade, I'm going to be honest, I feel like you could take any coach in the NHL right now, stick them behind that Devils team, and I think that they have about the same record as Sheldon Keefe does. Not saying that Keefe is a bad coach, but I think there are coaches who have done better this year than him under certain circumstances. So we'll get into those coaches, but I do think Sheldon Keefe has been great for the New Jersey Devils for sure. Next up, Dan Bylsma of the Seattle Kraken. Bylsma this year, 18-23-3 with a .433 points percentage. His team is 28th in the NHL. Yeah, they're worse. I really don't think I can justify it. He has been horrible. I can't justify moving him up to like, oh, it's okay. And I'm gonna be honest, not everything that has happened lies on Bylsma. Same can be said for Ruff. Same can be said for a lot of the other coaches that are on this list who may end up on the bottom half of this tier. But I will say this, there have been a lot of poor things that I've really scratched my head with what Bylsma has done, and I think overall this team is not built the right way, and I think that those signings they made in the offseason got worse. Again, not on Bylsma entirely. I think a lot of that lies on Ron Francis, but overall, when you look in terms of what the Kraken wanted to do this year, they wanted to get better, and it has not gotten better, so he has been horrible for the Kraken. Next up then, Travis Green of the Ottawa Senators has a 21-18-3 record with a .536 points percentage. He is ranked 18th in the NHL. I don't know why I keep saying that. His team is ranked 18th in the NHL. Green's been good. I think you can make an argument for putting Green in great, but since I'm putting Keefe here, I think I need to put Travis Green here. Again, there have been some decisions where I've been like, I don't really know about that. But he has taken this Ottawa Senators team and gotten them out of that point where they would have god-awful Novembers and then crash and burn in December. I think he has been a very good replacement instead of like DJ Smith or whoever the coach was last year. I can't even think of his name right now. Green has been a really good replacement. I don't think he's been great. If he was great, I think the Senators would be in a firm playoff spot right now. But at least so far, he has been good for the Ottawa Senators. 2 former Devils coaches here, ironic enough. Like 3 Devils coaches in here, which is kind of funny. Next up then, Dean Evason for the Columbus Blue Jackets. Evason was hired like very later in the year compared to other coaches. Evason 20, 17, and 6 with a .535 points percentage and is 17th in the NHL. I may change this, but Evason has been great for the Columbus Blue Jackets. He has taken a Blue Jackets team that had essentially zero expectations, if we're being honest, and has made them a spectacular team. And I don't think he's gotten enough credit for that, to be honest with you. I think that he has done a phenomenal, I'm going to put him in phenomenal, screw it. He's done a phenomenal job for the Blue Jackets. Like, again, you look in terms of where they were going to be. They were supposed to be where, like, these two guys are. Like, the Kraken and the Sabres. They're supposed to be where those teams are and not be so good. Instead, you know, maybe they're not firmly in a wild card spot, but they're still contending for one. They're still really, really good. Like, it is crazy how he has completely given that team a complete 180, and all of a sudden they look like they can be in contention for a playoff spot. And even if they do fall off in the second half of the season and things don't go the way they want them to in the second half, I still think he's done a really good job. So, again, he has been phenomenal. I might change that in a little bit, but overall he's been phenomenal for the Blue Jackets. Next up then, Ryan Warsofsky of the San Jose Sharks. Warsofsky this season, 13, 26, and 6 under the San Jose Sharks, has a .356 points percentage, and is 31st in the National Hockey League. Listen, I don't think it all lies on Warsofsky, so I think he's been okay. Again, you got to look in terms of the fact that this is his first coaching job in an NHL role. I think he's been okay for San Jose. Again, he's made them really fun to watch with guys like Celebrini and Will Smith. I have not heard any complaints of, you know, poor management out there on the ice, like poor lineup decisions like I've heard from other coaches that are going to be talked about here. I think overall, when you're looking in terms of, you know, how he's been, I think that he has been okay. He has not been good. He's not been horrible. He's been okay. Even though his team is bottom 2 in the National Hockey League, I think that he is still very good. He's still been an okay coach. Scott Arniel is the next one up here. The Winnipeg Jets, 29, 12, and 3, a .693 and third in the NHL right now. He has been phenomenal. Without a doubt, he has been phenomenal for the Winnipeg Jets. Again, like, it has been so surprising what the Jets have done this year. If you told me at this point, like January 14th of 2025, the Jets would be top 3 in the NHL, I probably would have laughed in your face. I'm going to be honest. I don't think I would have believed you. And it's been very shocking what they have done. I am so impressed. He has done a phenomenal job. And again, as I've said for a lot of these coaches, maybe not all of it has been, like, you know, solely on him. Like, you can't give him all the credit. You got to give credit to the GM, or discredit to the GM, I guess, in some sorts. But I still think for what the Jets have done, Arniel has been phenomenal for them. And then finally, Craig Berube, before we get into the 4 interns. Berube, 27, 15, and 2 with a .636 points percentage, and his team is now 6th in the National Hockey League. Yeah, Berube's been great. I wouldn't put him in front of Keefe. I think Berube's been great. I look in terms of, like, again, like, the Leafs still have problems. The Leafs still have issues. But I also want to say, like, in my opinion, I think they have looked completely different under him. They look so much better under him. And I think a lot of the problems that the Leafs are dealing with externally and internally aren't particularly his fault. Again, I feel like Berube's done a lot of the right things. It just seems like sometimes this Maple Leafs team plays the way they play just because they are the way they are. If that makes any sense, I think Leafs fans might get what I'm getting at. But I think he's done a great job for the Toronto Maple Leafs. And that's it for the coaches that were hired at the beginning of last season, or at the beginning before this season. Let's move into the interns. So the interns are going to be a little bit different because, you know, they haven't played as many games as a lot of the other coaches that are on this list. The first one is the prime example of that, Todd McLellan with the Detroit Red Wings is 7-1-0 with a .875 points percentage. His team has boosted up to 19th in the NHL. It is still very hard to really pinpoint if McLellan is really, giving this team more of a benefit. Again, we see a lot of the time with head coaches, there's a coaching boost. Whenever a coach gets hired, we've seen it with almost every single coach here, except for, I'd say, Sorensen. You see a boost. Like, the team will go on a pretty solid run. Again, the Red Wings are doing it right now. They could win 8 in a row tonight. The Bruins did it. They've teetered off a little bit recently, but they did that. And Jim Montgomery as well. The Blues did that too, even though they've teetered off as well. So it's a little hard to tell right now with McLellan. I am in between these two, but right now I'm going in good. That's going to be controversial, though, because people are going to say, oh, Nordic, it's such a small sample size, and they're on like a 7-game win streak. He should be in phenomenal or great. I understand that at a level, but again, it's in 8 games played. Like, I don't think it's really fair to put a coach in phenomenal or great when he's played literally almost 30 games less than the coaches that are on that tier with him, even with like Travis Green. But I think at least as of right now, when I'm making this video, and maybe I could have chosen to make this video at a different time, but again, like, you look in terms of it, like, a coach could get fired tomorrow, and this video could become completely irrelevant. But I think at least so far, he's been good. But again, it's hard to tell because the Red Wings, again, there's always a coaching boost with the majority of teams that get a brand new head coach. Next up then is Joe Sacco. And Sacco we can better measure because it's been about, 30 games since he became the coach. Sacco, 13-10-2 with the Bruins, a .560 points percentage. He is 16th in the NHL with his current team. They've been okay. They have not been really good. Again, if we're measuring like the first, I would say maybe 6 or 7 games of him as a coach, he's up here. But I think at least as of right now, he's been okay. I don't think that he has been terrific. Again, there's been a lot of decisions that I have not agreed with. Sacco, again, the power play's not improved. Again, there was that boost, but I feel like we are back to the same problems that were there under Montgomery. And again, you guys will know that, I disagreed with the Montgomery firing as it was. So, I think that Sacco has been okay. I don't think a lot of it goes on him. I don't think he's been at fault for a lot of the things that have gone on. But for sure, I think that when you're measuring it in terms of that, I think that, he's been okay. Next up then is Anders Sorensen of the Blackhawks. Sorensen, 6-12-0 with a .333 points percentage. His team is dead last in the NHL. I feel like they have been better under Sorensen, at least a little bit. That's why I'm going to put him in okay. I think they have been a little bit better in my eyes. I don't think that they have been, good. Again, their record shows. But I don't think they've been horrible either. I don't think they've definitely gotten a little bit better under him, but there is still the issue of effort. There's still the problem of just this team not being good enough. I don't think all of that lies on Sorensen himself. But again, I also do think, too, that, some of the play does lie on them. But again, I think Sorensen's done good. He's caught up a lot of guys that I agree with. He's caught up Nolan Allen. He's caught up Crevier. He's caught up Frank Nazar. Colton Dock got a call up a couple days ago. So he has caught up some of the young guys from the minor league club. And again, you wanted that if you were a Blackhawks fan. You wanted to see them bring up players who, are going to help the team. And I think that Sorensen should get credit for that at the very least. So he's been okay with the Blackhawks. And then finally, again, this tier list has ended so quickly, it's not even 10 minutes long. Or it is a little bit over 10 minutes. Jim Montgomery of the St. Louis Blues. Montgomery with the team has gone 11-8-3 with a .568 points percentage. And the Blues right now are 21st in the National Hockey League. Yeah, I think that they've gotten better under him. He's been good. He has not been great, but he's still been very good with the St. Louis Blues. And I think that, again, we see the boost, but I think even after that, they have still looked solid. I think it's just become clear, though, that this team is just not built the right way, maybe? Like, I really don't know. Like, they don't have that bad of a roster. I just don't think, like, maybe they're not built the right way to really contend. Again, they're kind of in the bottom half of the NHL. They're still contending for a playoff spot, but I think it's very possible they likely do miss the playoffs. But yeah, this is my head coaching tier list. I don't think I need to make any changes. I look at this right now. I think I agree with mostly everything that I've said. Like, I think I have the right coaches in every tier. Again, maybe you could argue moving Sheldon Keefe up here. Maybe you could argue moving, like Travis Green down here. Like, you could make plenty of arguments all day, but I don't want to be here for 45 minutes like I've been for a lot of the other tier lists. This might be the shortest tier rank Tuesday ever. This is literally not even 20 minutes long, and I think the shortest one we've done before that is like maybe 25 minutes. So, yeah, this is my tier list for head coaches so far this season. And again, this list can definitely change. Like, a head coach could get fired literally today. Like, I'm going to look right now on my phone and see if a coach got fired. Yeah, no coach got fired. So, again, like, it's a thing that can change from day to day. Again, next week, I could have a completely different opinion on some of these coaches. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. How did I do? Thank you guys very much for watching. If you enjoyed, make sure to like the video down below. If you really like the video, please do consider subscribing down below. We have a brand new Watch with Nordic tonight. Jets versus Canucks. I hope to see you guys there. But anyways, that is it for me. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.